at home. Kind of fun. After the community meeting, Sarah Ann called me and said that she thought this would be a fun way to bring back a way for people to get together to just learn things or talk or see each other in a non.
Shirley, I think that everyone needs to mute themselves. There's a lot of
Background.
but yeah.
Okay. If you would all mute, I can't. Okay. I'm seeing most people are muted. If you have a question, all right, I'm going to wait till everybody gets themselves muted. Sylvia, your turn to mute.
I'm sorry.
Don't mute, Lynn. So after the meeting, the congregational online meeting, Sarah Ann called. David. Sorry about that. Sarah Ann called and said, let's do something like this for people to get together, bring their dinner, their wine, and just talk about things we know. I want you to know that we now will have these scheduled almost every Tuesday through June. Next week, Deborah Kaplan, who many of you have heard before, will be doing, what you need to know in Yiddish to get through a crisis. So, but I thought I would go to one of my favorites, Lynne, because she has spoken before, and food is so important to us now. Food is so important. So Lynne's going to talk about how do you eat and feel satisfied during a crisis. If you have a question, put it in chat, and I will try and summarize the questions and bring them to Lynne's attention. Okay? So can we agree we're going to try and do that? And let's see how it goes. Lynne, you ready?
Does everybody know how to do chat? You might want to just mention that.
There's a little box up top, and it says chat, and then you can just type in where it says send a message to everyone, and then hit enter. Okay? So I hope that you can see that. All right. I'm seeing some great people. I wish I could talk to each of you, but I guess I can. So Lynne, my friend, you're on.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Well, the topic is healthy eating in the time of COVID, actually. This is a crisis unlike any other that we've ever experienced before. So some of the things I'm going to talk about are basically healthy eating, but particularly in times of stress. And this is a high stress time for everybody. But I'm sure we've all recognized that even though, it's frightening, it's stressful, it's boring, it's all of those adjectives, that there are a couple of silver linings to this whole situation that we found ourselves in. And one of those could be, at least for us, was more family time. And it could be virtual family time. If you live by yourself, you may be seeing the people that don't live with you on FaceTime or Meetup or
So cool.
Zoom, any of those things. So that's been kind of nice for us. And also, we have more time to get to those projects that maybe we've been putting off, like cleaning out the junk drawer or no, me neither. My junk drawer is still pretty junky. But the other part, we have more time. Many of us are in the house a lot more, and we have more time to forage through the pantry and see where we put those chips and the cookies and all of that. And really, we're kind of not on the same schedule. Nobody is that they were previously. And that could be a meal schedule too. So I have a little slide here I'm going to put up, and I hope it comes up good because I'm technologically challenged, but let's see what happens here. Is this what your schedule looks like? A little bit of it is cut off because I can't quite get it, but the top part says quarantine meal schedule, coffee, 7 a.m. breakfast, coffee, 7:15 dessert breakfast, 8:30 panic
Did you want to share that graphic? Because we're not seeing it.
You're not seeing it at all?
You have to click present now and then tab and select your tab.
All right, let me try that again. Sorry. There we go. Present now. I thought I did it, but I guess I didn't.
Let's see it, Lynn.
Here we go.
Yep.
It's coming. There we go. Got it?
Yep. There it
Okay. Okay, but some of it's cut off. I really apologize for that. It's quarantine meal schedule. 7 a.m. breakfast, 7:15 dessert breakfast, 8:30 panic snack with news, 9:45 chocolate, 11:30, now you see snack while standing up, 12:30 lunch with small dessert, 2 o'clock post-nap luncheon, 4:30 trail mix, 6 p.m. dinner, so on and so forth, 10 o'clock ice cream. Either that or maybe we just forget about eating. Let me get back out of that now. Okay, here we go. So anyway, did anybody's schedule look like that? Is it just like all helter-skelter and Shirley? Okay.
It's the coffee and the chocolate. No, not really. Not really.
Okay. Someone's playing music?
I'm about to shut it.
Okay. Okay, so our routines are really shut down. We, can't go out and do our regular activities, go to work. The gym is shut down, can't exercise the same way. Everybody's stressed. And all of that makes it easier for us to overeat. And sorry, did you say something?
Oh, no.
Okay. So when we're stressed and worried, we kind of turn to comfort foods. And comfort foods usually involve sugar and fat and carbs for quick energy. It's really a physiological response. You want those because you're down, you want to perk up, so you look for those foods that you feel that are going to give you some quick energy. But those foods actually can add to our stress levels, not diminish it. So we want comfort foods, but we can also include healthy, nutritious, balanced meals and healthy snacks. So at some point, we're going to have to, this is going to be over. We don't know when, but we're going to have to get out of the sweatpants and the leggings and get back into our more form-fitting clothes. So many things are out of control right now, but the fact of the matter is what we eat is in our control. It's always in our control. So and how do we do this? The first thing that I recommend that you do is really establish a routine if you haven't done that at this point. I mean, we're about 6-7 weeks into this, so you might have established a routine, but you might not be happy with that routine, and it's not really making you feel any better. It's making you feel worse. Maybe you've gained some weight, or maybe you're just depressed and you're not eating and you've lost some weight. Either way, establishing a routine that can be somewhat, at least in terms of eating, what it used to be like can be very helpful to you. So think about what you're going to have for breakfast, lunch, and dinner before you're right there right before that meal takes place. And also snacks. Plan on your snacks too. Make time for cooking. We probably all have more time to be cooking now than we did previously because all the other things that we do in our lives have been cut, or cut short, or in a different way. So you have more time to cook. And it doesn't mean that you have to do anything elaborate. If cooking's not your thing, then you can stick to simple things. And then if family meals are also important. If you are living with someone else in the house, then make sure that you eat your breakfast, lunch, and dinner together, if that's possible. And that's something that wasn't, maybe you weren't doing that previously because everybody's on different schedules. They leave different times. They come back different times, all the different evening activities. Now, for many of us, that's really been cut back. So try to schedule meals together, everybody eat together. The other thing is portion your meals. This is a good tip for any time. Don't eat out of the bag. Don't drink out of the carton. Even though you're there and you're really thirsty or you're really hungry, just don't go digging in there and start eating. Take out a portion. And if it's the chips that you want, then look at the bag and see what it says. How many chips are in a portion? Put that out, close the bag up, put it away, and see if that can, if that'll do it for you. Also, use smaller plates. This is it's really psychological. There've been studies done on this. And if you use a smaller plate, it looks like you have more food, and psychologically you feel like you're eating more. So that can help you also eat less if that's your problem. And the other thing is overall to practice mindful eating. And one of the things that you should avoid doing if you want to practice mindful eating are the 3 G's, which are gobble, gulp, and go. Gulp it down and be on your way. And by doing that, you're really missing out on the food that you're eating. You're eating to live. You're not living to eat. And you don't enjoy the food. Don't eat while you're standing. Don't run. Don't eat while you're watching TV. All good things all good habits to have, as you're always, not just now. Sit down, eat slowly, chew your food before you swallow it, and take time to savor the food. Experience the aroma and the texture and the taste. And chew your food, as I said before you swallow. You'll enjoy it more. It'll take you a longer time to eat the food, and it'll give your brain a chance to know that your stomach is full. It takes a little while. They say maybe 15, 20 minutes for your brain to know that you have eaten. And if you try that and you take a longer period of time, you'll see that you're more satisfied. You're not as hungry. So practice mindful eating. Now, when you're at work, those of you who go to work or wherever you go, there were sometimes temptations that were out of your control. There's a candy dish on the desk, or in the break room, somebody nicely brought in a dozen donuts. It's hard to pass that by, but when you're at your house, you are in control. You are the gatekeeper of the foods. So make sure that you fill your house with nutritious foods. So it'll all be there, and try to minimize the other foods that aren't as healthy. So you're not tempted. If it's not there, you can't eat it. I know Shirley said that to me the other day. What was your mantra? What was it you said?
I said, I can't eat chocolate if it's not in the house. So it hasn't been in the house for 7 weeks. It's terrible.
That's true. So anyway, what you want to do is surround yourself with healthy foods. And nutritious foods, as you probably already know, are foods that are high in fiber, healthy fats, lean protein, lots and lots of vegetables, whole grains, seafoods, nuts, seeds, healthy oils like olive oil and avocado oil, all the things that you've been hearing about for so long. Now, for meal planning, always make sure you include a lot of vegetables. I know we've decided that in our family, Lanny and I, we're not going to grocery stores. We are ordering. We were not ordering in takeout. We're ordering groceries from wherever we can get it. And there's a lot of interesting sourcing places, farms and other companies that are delivering food. So if you need any of those suggestions, let me know later, and I can put you in that direction. But I find that I'm ordering lots and lots and lots of vegetables because I don't want to run out of vegetables. I mean, we eat a lot of vegetables most of the time anyway. So you get lots and lots of vegetables. Half your plate, as they say, should be vegetables. So we'll often have a big salad for lunch or for dinner. And when I say a big salad, I'm not using the small plate. I'm using the big one, and it'll have all different greens on it. It'll have cucumbers, tomatoes. It'll have peppers. It'll have some olives. Sometimes we'll do chickpeas and tuna and feta. It's really, really filling. And the thing about salads that really make the salad for me is the dressing that we put on it. If you have a bottle dressing that you enjoy and you really like, hopefully it's one that uses healthy oils and doesn't have a lot of preservatives in it, then go for it. Always portion out. I do this every time I put on salad dressing. I take a tablespoon measure and I measure out 2 tablespoons. That's really enough, especially if you put the salad in a bowl and you toss it, it really gets all over the place. And that really makes it for me. I now making my own dressings, which are so simple. It's basically olive oil and a vinegar, usually balsamic. I add a little bit of Dijon mustard, maybe a little bit of maple syrup. Put it in the blender or in I have like a mini food processor, whirl it up. It's so good. And you could do that with different types of vinegars, different types of, I usually go with the olive oil or the avocado oil these days. So that makes a salad for me. The other thing is with the vegetables that lend themselves to roasting. If you haven't discovered roasted vegetables, now is the time to start experimenting. You have carrots, peppers, like Brussels sprouts, asparagus, cauliflower, butternut squash. When I get all those vegetables from these food sourcing places, or if you're getting from the grocery, I bring them home. Of course, we disinfect everything and wash it all first. I didn't used to do that, but that's what I do now. And then I roast a whole bunch of them. So I have all these roasted vegetables in my refrigerator and I use them during the week. I'll put them into salad or I'll use them as a side if I'm making chicken or I'm making fish or love those roasted vegetables. When you roast a vegetable, the carbohydrates in the vegetable caramelize. It turns to sugar. It tastes so sweet. And it's really wonderful. So buy a lot. I also sometimes, if I'm hungry, I'll go to my refrigerator and I'll pull out some of those roasted vegetables and just eat them as a snack. They taste like candy to me. I hope you might find it even close to that. Where you take a little tahini sauce and drizzle it on the vegetables, and as a side dish or as part of your salad, or just as a snack. Can't get enough of those vegetables. You can eat as many as you want. And they really, really filling. They have a lot of fiber, and of course they have a lot of vitamins and minerals. So try that. The other suggestion that I have is with the vegetables you want to eat fresh, maybe like, some carrots, celery, peppers, whatever you like. Cut them up into bite-sized pieces. Put them in containers in your refrigerator that you can see through at eye level. So when you're hungry and you want something, you open up the refrigerator and there you see your vegetables. Pull out some hummus, pull out some guacamole, or just mash up an avocado, and try to fill up that way. And you will fill up because they are very, very filling. Same thing with fruits. Cut up the fruit so it's really accessible, because if you see it and it's easy, then you'll want to eat it. And even it's also nice to leave some fruit on the counter, on the table, so you see it and you go for it. A nice snack could be an apple that you cut up. You cut up in advance, then make sure you put a little lemon juice on it so it doesn't brown. But and then take a tablespoon of peanut butter and eat the apple with the peanut butter. Even put a couple of raisins on it if you want a little more sweet. But if you're looking for something sweet, it's a great snack, healthy, filling. You've got the protein, the good fats with the peanut butter, and it's nice. So let's see, what else am I going to talk about here? Nuts, peanut butter or just nuts by themselves are very, very healthy. Good protein, good fiber, healthy fats. You just don't want to eat too much of it because it does have a lot of fat on it. It's healthy fat, and you don't want to overdo it. So with nuts, maybe the quarter of a cup or a half or a third of a cup of nuts, and have it with a little fruit. Always nice to combine the carbs with fruit. It sticks with you longer. It's good. Fruit and a piece of cheese, like a string cheese, is also a good snack that can be filling. A little bit of yogurt, a little bit of Greek yogurt, plain yogurt with some fruit in it. That doesn't appeal to you, try what I do, and I have this for breakfast a lot of times. Or sometimes I'll just have it for a snack if I'm really hungry and I want something sweet. I have frozen cherries in my freezer that are just plain cherries. I pop it in the microwave for, how much I do. I usually do like 3/4 of a cup. I love it so much. And I put it in for about 30 seconds. It melts them down. I add the yogurt and I mix it up, and it's like cherry yogurt, but there's no added sugar to it. I might even throw in some of my favorite toasted pecans. So that can be a snack. Yes.
We are at the point where people's hands start to wave around, and there are questions for you. So let me start with, there are two. First of all, Adrian says she eats like that little menu you showed, coffee and chocolate. We know that, Adrian, but that's not. So Lynne Rubin, let's start with Lynne's. She said, and maybe we can put this in an email and distribute it. Please ask Lynne about where to get deliveries. So I'm going to read them all to you. Where do you get it from local farms?
Okay.
Susan asked, how do you disinfect the vegetables?
Okay.
And then the last one, and I know Sarah has to jump off, Sarah Erickson. She wants to know, do you recommend almond butter or peanut butter? And I have sunflower seed butter. So should we start with that? So Sarah Ann, when she
start with that, it depends on what you like. They're all very nutritious, healthy fats, good protein. You can't go wrong with almond, peanut, or sunflower. It just depends on what you like. Each one of them is good. It's a matter of taste
and quantity. Because if you eat a whole bottle of,
they're all,
yeah, that's a problem too. Yeah,
Yeah, that's a problem.
It's the same thing. The quantity has to be limited. A
Right.
tablespoon or 2 tablespoons, at the most, is 2 tablespoons is about 200 calories and about 16 grams of fat. So, which is okay, healthy fats, good protein, and it has fiber, so it's going to help fill you up. But you probably don't want to go more than that in one serving.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lynn.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Sarah Ann. And this was a great idea, Sarah Ann. Okay, moving up, Susan asked about disinfecting vegetables.
Okay.
And I know I've been doing that. Let's talk about that. Lynn, we will get to where we get things delivered from, I promise you.
Okay. Well, the disinfecting the vegetables. This is what I do, and from what I've read, the virus doesn't really transmit that well through our foods. It's mostly the packaging is really what I'm disinfecting. So when I get it delivered and it's in a bag or whatever, well, when it's in a bag, after we bring it in with our gloved hands, I put it in the sink, and they say that fruits, vegetables, whatever, you really shouldn't put any soap or anything like that on it. They say just wash it in cold water. So I really douse it pretty well with the water. I don't use any kind of agents at all. They say that the soaps can make you sick just from the soap.
Right.
So you don't do that. And then in anything that comes in a package that I want to keep in the package, we have our I don't know if this is exactly the right thing to do, but we take a wipe and we wipe the outside of the package, and then we leave it there on the dining room table that has a cloth on it, and we let it sit there for, a couple of days, unless it's something that needs to be refrigerated.
Yeah.
And let it kind of dry off, and then go from there. So that's how we disinfect.
That's it, and that's really interesting. I don't know if Dale's on somewhere, but Dale and I were talking about how with this new habit of washing everything, it makes it easier to cook and prepare salad because it's already washed.
You are so right.
It may become something that I do naturally, although I'm never in the kitchen as long as I am these days, but it's a pretty good habit to get into.
It is. And then you're not taking whatever dirt or germs or whatever that was there at the grocery store and putting it into your refrigerator or whatever. You're cleaning it right then. It might not be COVID, but there are other things.
Thanks. So Lynne Rubin, and we may open this up if everybody has different places that they get their stuff from. Lynne Rubin was saying, where do you get deliveries? And you mentioned the local farms. If you want to, and if others of you have some good sources, maybe we can get everybody to.
Sure. Somebody's, I see one right there. That must have been John. We'll have to make a list and publish it in Shomrei Week.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Places that I've ordered from, yesterday I just got a delivery from Harvest to Home, New Jersey. It's just harvesttohomenewjersey.com. And they're in Lincoln Park, and they don't grow everything, but they are there, obviously, because it's not the growing season. They must source it somehow, because it's also bananas and oranges that aren't even grown up here. But I've been fairly pleased with them. They, the foods that I've gotten, it was as if I picked them. In other words, the oranges were nice picks. I wouldn't, sometimes you get when other people or other places do shopping for you, they might not be as selective as you are. But I thought that it was pretty good. I get mostly produce from them, but we also got some herbs and some flowers, which are nice. And I got a huge rosemary plant that isn't available anymore, but it was huge. So now I have rosemary through next winter, I guess.
We're coming for the rosemary, Lynn.
Anybody needs rosemary, just let me know. I will cut it off and put it outside, and then you can pick it up contact free. So there's that. And then we've ordered from Baldor, which is a company that usually does bulk foods to restaurants. And they're now doing home delivery. It's a pretty high minimum. There's no service charge, but a delivery charge, but a pretty high minimum of $250. But if you get together with another family, you can get stuff, or I mean, even just the two of us I could do $250. And they have just about everything. They have dairy, they have I have a kosher home, so I don't get meats from them. But I have gotten, lots of produce. I've gotten dairy. I've gotten, household goods and things like that. They have just about everything. So that's one.
I'm going to interrupt you for a second. For those of you who can look at the chats, you just click on the chat. You'll see that John is putting in. So he put in the website for Baldor, and Agri Exotic. I'll just make a comment. That's where Dale gets stuff from, and she really likes them.
Oh, good.
Adrian put in the Montclair Bread Company has produce for pickup. So I'm seeing suggestions pop in on the chat. So so if you haven't looked at the chats, do chat and then put in your own questions. Thanks for keeping up with this. Sorry to cut you off, Lynn, but I just wanted people to.
That's okay. Yeah, I mean, this is great to know. I just recently, I wanted fish, which I couldn't get from any of the places that I was ordering from. And I ordered from the Fulton Fish Market. And that's $125 minimum. They FedEx it to you fresh, and it comes cold with the way they pack it. And I figured I would just stock up because I needed my salmon fix after, several weeks of having no salmon. And they have all the fish. And it's funny because I was looking around to see if I could source someplace before I landed with them. And I looked at that Gus's Seafood, which is on Valley Road in Upper Montclair, which I've never ordered from. I think I poked my nose in there one time and the prices were just exorbitant. Well, I look at Gus's, I don't know if they're doing it now or not. They get their fish from the Fulton Fish Market. So this is a way to avoid the middleman. And the fish was beautiful. And I also shared with Fiona and Martin and Molly, my kids, and our niece who lives in Glen Ridge, shared with her too. So Fulton Fish Market was a great place. And now Seasons, I've gotten food from them a couple times now, before Passover and twice now. They do some deliveries, but I don't know, not really. But they can get a pickup slot where they do your whole order and you just go there and you call them and say, I'm here. They come out and put it right in your trunk. So you don't have to have any contact at all. And and someone will call you, the shopper will call you and say, we're out of this. Would you like this? Would you like that? And so I've done that. And I noticed that Aaron's is now delivering to Montclair. For a long time, they weren't. So I haven't tried them yet, but I saw there were delivery slots.
And that's important for people who are particularly looking for kosher meat, because and my favorite is the butcher at Seasons. So the fishermen and the butcher at Seasons are my friends. Let me read some more notes here. Linda Wieseneck said you can do pickup at the farmers market in Montclair. The farmers market is open for those of you who haven't heard, and they have spread it out tremendously. I haven't felt comfortable going, but if you do feel comfortable going, they will let you pick up at like certain pickup spots. Jerry says Jackie's Grillette in Upper Montclair is selling produce, milk, and eggs and hummus, and their hummus is really good. I feel like I could go to be a restaurant critic. And Karen Shapiro, hi Karen, she said she called Aaron's today and they delivered to Montclair. So confirming what you learned. So this is some sources. And if anybody is having difficulty, there are some of us who are home a lot more like me. And so if you just call and we'll figure out how to get you food. I mean, nobody in our community should be without food.
Yes.
So that's my pitch, which is one of the reasons I started with Lynne, so that we can be sure that everybody here has food. And Lynne, before we get too much further, will you tell everybody how we're taking care of mesh too?
Yes. Well, mesh Tuesday night, it's mesh night. And every Tuesday now, our mesh guests go to the Villa Victoria restaurant that's on Park Street, right across from where Plum Park is. It's close to Bloomfield Avenue, if you haven't been there. And we're in other words, to get to the point, we are funding the meals. They get pickup meals there. The mesh staff is there and they line up. Their number is called and they get a bag with 2 slices of pizza. One of the slices has protein on it. I won't talk about what protein. And they get a salad and they get a water bottle. And apparently they love it when they get that. Not as much as they love our home cooked meals at Shomrei, but they're very, very happy with that. And we're providing 40 meals now. Whereas in-house, we don't do as much, and the reason the way we've been able to fund that is that at the beginning of this crisis, I sent out a notification to the synagogue indicating that we needed some funds in case it got to the point where we had to purchase meals. And I have to say, the first couple of times we did that, the takeaway meals, we had some lovely, wonderful, generous congregants who funded the meals. And now we had a lot of people who came forward very generously, and we have a very nice fund there. We can go through the end of June every week and do the 40 meals. At the end of June, we stop for July and August, as we usually do. And there are groups from Bloomfield, I believe, who take over the summer months and feed our people. And then we'll see where we are in September. But we have enough funds to go through the end of June and then some. So we're in good shape as it comes to mesh.
Thank you. One more comment I have here that I just want to make sure gets read out. And this is from Fran Legman. And what Fran says, and this is this is interesting. There is an organization called Umbrella that finds volunteers to deliver to you if you are over 60. It's online. Of course, nobody on this Google Hangout is over 60, but if you happen to know anyone who's over 60, thank you, Fran.
Yeah, I used them and my brother used them. And they go to the supermarket, they ask you what you need, you send them a list. And it's not instantaneously. It might take a few days for them to find a volunteer. A lovely woman who was a physical therapist who said she had extra time and wanted a volunteer. She delivered my food.
That's great.
That's great. Yeah. Well, I just wanted to say too that to add to Jackie's Grillette, they will deliver if you are over 60 as well. And I've had a delivery from them. And
interesting. The other thing you should know is Dale, every time she sends out an SOS for getting food for somebody who can't get food, there are a number of the college kids that have responded. It has been an amazing thing to see how the college kids have come up and gone out, done the shopping, and delivered the food. We just had that very nice. So there is a lot of caretaking at the synagogue. That's my pitch. Any
Okay.
other questions? Go ahead, Lynn. Pick up where you.
Well, I just wanted to, just a couple of other things that I wanted to say on topic. And that was, you know, I've outlined a number of healthy, nutritious foods that are filling, and, you know, but sometimes you really want something, and that's okay. I mean, especially, you know, in these difficult times, if you do as I've suggested and eat your meals this way, eating lots and lots of vegetables and the lean proteins and some whole grains and the healthy snacking, then please do treat yourself. You deserve it, you know, for whatever it is you like. If it's chocolate, hopefully it's dark chocolate. If you like the milk chocolate, you want the treat, go for it. You know, portion size is important, but believe me, trust me, as some people say, if you fill up on all these other nutritious foods, a little bit of that special treat is going to be very satisfying to you, and you won't feel like you have to eat the whole cake or the whole bar or whatever it is. You know, a couple of cookies with some coffee, or that, you know, that piece of chocolate, or I just, one thing that I always think it's funny, but it's nice, and I've tried it. If you want, there are recipes online. You can get them everywhere. If you want a suggestion from me, I can give you one. I just saw a really good one the other day for something called a mug cake. And a mug cake is a little 1-serving cake. And it has like 3 tablespoons of flour and a little bit of baking powder and, you know, a little bit of the cocoa, and then 2 tablespoons of sugar and a couple of tablespoons of oil or whatever it is. You mix it all up in a mug. You pop it in the microwave for maybe 90 seconds, something like that. And out comes this single serving. Single servings are great because then you can enjoy it and you don't have to eat the whole cake because it's not there.
So Eileen said something about posting recipes in Shomrei Week. Eileen, she's been posting recipes, but I think that mug cake has to be posted.
Okay, mug cake.
Mug cake must be posted. I'm going to make, how many mugs fit into my microwave?
Well, you can have one for you, one for David, and then you eat it, you enjoy it, and then it's all gone. I mean, the dangerous part, I mean, I haven't really been doing any baking, except I did bake bread. For the first time, I baked a no-knead bread, also very, very simple, because I didn't have any more of the bread I like, and I decided to make it. And it was really easy, and I sliced it and put it in my freezer. But I'm afraid to make cookies or cake or anything else because, believe it or not, I don't have a lot of willpower when it comes to that. And I just don't want to eat too much of it. So, but I will make a mug cake, and then the temptation isn't there. You have to do put a little effort. So work for your mug cake, but, you know, have those fruits and vegetables cut up and ready to go at eye level in the fridge.
I love that. I really like that suggestion. Doing a little pre-work. But Jerry Bloom there's always one troublemaker in the crowd. So Jerry said, can you make 3 mugs? And Eileen, who is taking him seriously, said, sure, triple the recipe. And Jerry said, and eat them all by yourself? So, you know, you need to watch the chats here. Eileen wants him to share. But I mean, I do love the tip of, I think, Lynn, what you're saying is that if we're home more, like all the time, we can start to prepare food so there's stuff there so we can
Exactly.
eat it, right? Because you're not running in and out, you know, otherwise the house used to be like a fast food restaurant.
Right.
Can anybody hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
We can hear you.
Oh, okay. Hershey Special Dark. They sell them at CVS. and they're sometimes on sale for $1.
Oh, the little ones.
Yeah.
Jerry, you're
You see this?
Yep.
I don't know if you
real.
can see it or not.
Yes, hold it up a
'Cause I
little
don't
high.
see my picture up there, so
We see your
these are
picture. Ugh,
Yeah. Well, we
Yeah,
can,
they're broken up in small cubes, so you can have one or two at a time.
have the willpower. But along the lines with what Shirley was just saying, if it works for you and it doesn't work for everybody, I don't know if there are any young parents, parents with young children who are on with us here, but if you're working from home and you're homeschooling and you don't have a lot of extra time, but you never have a lot of extra time. So you might have already you're already into your routine of how to do the meals, and I'm sure you're doing a really good job doing that. But if you're home now and you find yourself with all this extra time, then do the prep. Think about it. Put some thought into it, and because when we go back, whenever that might be, it gets crazy, and you don't have that time anymore. And that's an excuse not to take the time to prepare and plan and shop, and so take advantage if you can. It's one of those little silver linings to have the time to do that.
It's funny, Lynn. I don't think we have a lot of young families here. But in fact, if you had kids living at home, preparing the vegetables like that is a good task to share.
Absolutely. The kids
I've taught David how to chop and dice. It's been wonderful.
your child.
Learn how to do it.
Yeah, I know my kids do that. I'm proud of the way my kids, what they do, and they're really good parents, and they do that all the time anyway. And and it's harder now because they're doing the homeschooling and the kids are around all the time, but they make sure that they get that done. So
I see one comment. Eileen said you can air fry. Eileen, do you want to tell us what that is? You want to unmute yourself and say what you mean by air frying? Can you unmute? Eileen, is she stuck? No. Lynn, what about air frying? What does that mean?
Well, air frying, that's a new kind of gadget that I don't have one. I'd like to try one because I've heard really, really good things about it. And I know Eileen has one. And you put your food into this contraption that's an air fryer. You use the teeniest bit of oil and it does something to it and it tastes fried.
Wow.
Like French fryer. It's kind of like the way it's been described to me, like a convection oven with the circulation and the heat. And somehow it comes out tasting like and looking like something was fried.
It's super convection.
What's that?
It's super convection. I
Yeah.
use my countertop oven, but it's like convection on steroids.
Yeah.
But it really works very well. And you use almost no oil.
Which means that you have to send away to Amazon or something.
True.
That's a popular appliance now, I understand.
Very popular, but yeah. I mean, I aspire to have something that's air fried because I've never had it. I've been resisting getting it because I have so many other appliances that I can't use them all the time. But
and I just want to report in from Karen Shapiro, who says Ted is learning how to cook. Quarantining makes for some interesting new learnings, I think.
it really does.
So we're coming to the end. So Lynn, you want to give us your last words and we'll see if there are any final questions?
Yeah, I mean, overall, my theme has been that if you fill yourself up with healthy, nutritious foods that you enjoy, number one, you have to enjoy it, because I don't believe you should ever eat anything just because you should, quote unquote. You should only eat things that taste good to you. But if you, and you can find them, and it might be the way that you prepare them that it makes it more enticing, like the roasting or the air frying, as Eileen said. But you fill up on those foods, and you put some thought into what you're doing, and plan it out so it's there, and you're not just caught when you're starving and you need to get something in right away. Then, and allow yourself the indulgence, but you won't be able to consume as much. You're going to be full. And especially if you eat mindfully and you pay attention to what you're doing, and you savor it and go slowly and smell it and feel the texture and enjoy it, because otherwise it just goes down and you don't even realize that you had it. So that's what I have to say.
Thank you so much. This has been fun. I think I'm seeing little notes saying, thanks, Lynn, this is fun. This has been fun, and it's a great place to start with, taking care of ourselves and taking care of your families and whoever is with you. And next week, we're going to go from taking care of our bodies to taking care of our, funny bones. I think we should have some fun with Yiddish and crisis times, because there are some great Yiddish words for dealing with crisis and emergency. And watch Shomrei Week, because literally I think we have At Nourish going now into June. So there'll be something on Tuesday nights for you to engage with and have a glass of wine with, or a glass of water. And I'm just so appreciating seeing everybody in their homes. I'm looking at Lynn Rubin's backdrop of great artwork there, and and Jerry with his chocolate. This is so great. So thank you, Lynn. Look at the notes, because people are saying thank you to you in a big way.
And I have one more thing to say before we sign off, and this is on advice of my attorney, who is standing right here. That I did not mean to indicate that Gus's seafood was exorbitant. I'm just going to clarify that Fulton Fish Market, even though their prices are fairly high, they're better than Gus's.
Woo! Well, Montclair just doubles and triples things. It's just the way it is.
Disclaimer.
I love that. Thank you, Lanny. And thanks again, all of you.
Thanks everybody for coming to listen to me.
Hope you all stay healthy, please.
That's number one.
Yes, stay healthy. Yay! Give her a hand. Yay, Lynn. And we'll see you next Tuesday if you're up for it. So,
Bye.
bye. Okay, John.